I never knew how much the Drake lawsuit was impacting overall music. I could tell that this lawsuit that Drake filed was kind of ruffling some feathers.
But you know they love the suit.
But you know they love the suit. But you know they love the suit.
What song?
Yeah, that song.
Lawbreeze and Gentlegrams, it's a shame that we have to spend a damn extra second spamming special chants about a demented man demanding a reprimand on a battle that had him extra slammed. Yes, the suing son of Sandra, the sexy red stepsister, is back in the courthouse begging the judge to forgive her. The Marilyn Monroe host strolled back in with a gaveling glow as he told the judge, no, this case will not blow like the wind in the Canadian snow, it will glow like the snow, and I will show the globe that injustices will be exposed. For how I lost a rap battle I willingly chose.
I study rap battles for a living.
So let's break down how La Brianna's back in the courthouse, but first put the like and subscribe buttons in your mouth. So Lawbreeze and Gentlegrams, it's looking like Drake is not accepting the verdict that the judge casted on his case against UMG for their promotion and publication of the song Not Like Us. We've been down this rabbit hole before, but you guys know how much of a threat this lawsuit could be to free speech, to rap battles as we know them, to the future of how artists release music. And what's funny enough is even one of the Gaveling Grams greatest glazers, DJ Big Mac of Akademiks, had admitted that when the case got thrown out, the entire industry was celebrating. It was like a relief off their shoulders. We can now proceed with business as usual because no one's out here trying to sue over lyrics.
Everybody from the industry hit me today, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I never knew how much the Drake lawsuit was impacting overall music business. I'm not only really talking about only UMG, but people who work at Sony, Warner. I could tell that this lawsuit that Drake filed was kind of ruffling some feathers. It was basically like a buzzer beater. Start hitting me from that I ain't talked to in years. They say we back on road, it's lit again.
So even Snackadiddler was aware that this lawsuit was disgusting to begin with, right? And the entire industry was in celebration when the judge made the right choice. But Drake said, nah, we're following through. Now we're going to look at some important things that the judge had said when she threw out the case. Because yes, Drake has recently submitted an appeal saying again he wants to keep this case rolling. However, if a defamation case in New York gets dismissed, aka gets thrown out, and the plaintiff, aka Drake, appeals it, they can't add new evidence or change the lawsuit during the appeal. So the judge already gave a list of reasons as to why this lawsuit was BS and why it can't go forward to begin with. Drake can't change what he puts in the lawsuit when he's asking the judge to review it once again and keep the court case going forward. The judge
Studies rap battles for a living.
The appeals court only reviews what already happened in the lower court. It checks whether the judge made a legal mistake when they dismissed the case, and even if the plaintiff collected new documents during the discovery phase. I could be wrong, but I don't think those can be introduced on appeal. This is important because how defamation cases work, it's like Drake presents his lawsuit, so he says like, I was done wrong for these reasons, Kendrick was defaming me, so was UMG by putting out the song. Mrs. Judge, I need you to grant me permission to go through the discovery phase, to collect documents from UMG in order to build up enough evidence to have a good case when it goes to court. At the same time, UMG was like, nah, we're not following through on this. Judge, dismiss the case. These are the reasons why you should dismiss it. And how the order of proceedings went is that first the judge did grant Drake permission for his request on discovery. So he was allowed to dig through UMG for all the evidence he needed. But then the judge dismissed the case. So now that Drake is appealing it and saying, no, let's keep it going, he can't use the evidence he collected in discovery. And if you guys remember, he was requesting some crazy things. He wanted all contracts and agreements between UMG and Kendrick Lamar, including all the agreements that reflect UMG's right to approve, reject, refuse to publish, edit, amend, alter, or veto the publication of Kendrick Lamar's musical works. So basically any power UMG had to nix and cancel any Kendrick music from coming out. They also requested all documents documents, communications relating to allegations of domestic violence, violence against women, and or other forms of violence committed by Kendrick Lamar from January 1st, 2014 and onward. Because again, in Family Matters, Drake was accusing Kendrick of course, some heinous abuse. Heinous abuse. In the courthouse, Drake, in his discovery, had also asked for documents and communications relating to Dave Free and his relationship with Kendrick Lamar and Kendrick's children.
I study
Kendrick's children
for a living.
Drake's team had also requested communications and records from UMG executives, including the CEO, Lucian Grange, as well as UMG's internal policies and documents regarding promotion of Kendrick's song, Not Like Us. And this is what prompted Lucian Grange himself to write a letter to the judge to let her know that they own a large percent of Drake's catalog, they have no incentive to defame him or ruin his reputation, and the promotion of the song is handled by Kendrick's team. It's not handled by the higher-ups like the CEO of the billion-dollar corporation UMG. So all in all, this lawsuit, as you guys know, got really dirty, right? Drake was requesting some crazy documents. Lucian Grange exposed some crazy info in terms of how much of Drake's catalog they actually own. And now that Drake is trying to go for round 2 of this lawsuit, it's good to know that he can't actually introduce any brand new evidence to try and sway the decision the judge already made. The judge
Studies rap battles for a living.
To use that new evidence, Drake would usually have to file a new or amended lawsuit, which he hasn't done just yet. Now we're going to discuss the exact steps that the court will take now that Drake wants to go round 2 with this thing, what Drake can do to keep this thing pushing forward and ultimately get it back to trial where he can again unbox all those strange red button documents from UMG and Kendrick Lamar and expose the whole industry, expose Dave Free for being the father. How can he get to that point? And I also want to unpack with you guys a lot of hilarious and very important things that the judge said about the case when she did throw it out. But first I want to get to some absolutely hilarious and heinous takes from the OV hoes when the news first broke that the judge was tossing this case in the trash. Because I don't know if we ever looked at some of these reactions and they're absolutely insane, all right? So I think Jamari, if you guys don't know him, great YouTuber, highly suggest you check him out. He did a dope piece on, all the spiraling that the OV hoes were doing once this court case got removed and they realized there would be no red button pushed. I mean, now again, Drake is fighting, so we're going to review how he can fight this thing and what this means for Kendrick Lamar, UMG, etc. But let's keep it lighthearted for now. Let's look at some of these absurd reactions.
Now, the first stand we have to acknowledge is OVO Mall, who is possibly the biggest and most popular Drake glazer online.
Listen, all that. Drake is smashing this nigga, man. He's punishing this nigga. He's out-rapping this nigga. It's not even close. The music is way better. The visual is way better.
Like, Mall makes DJ Akademiks look like a normal-minded person in comparison with his delusions. Because at the very least, Akademiks could acknowledge the logical issues with Drake's moves and his lawsuit, while Mall claimed that Drake would be up a cool $2 billion after he was done with UMG.
I think Drake is going to ask for something that no artist has ever asked for or received. And it's going to be very interesting to see if he receives that.
As far as money?
As far as compensation for damages.
Mm-hmm. On the lawsuit side?
Absolutely. We talking upwards of $2 billion.
$2 billion?
Absolutely.
Huh? Hey, y'all, come look at this.
So I'm sure the day the news came out that this case was being thrown out, this guy was crying into his Drake body pillow all night. I mean, I seriously question if he or his co-host Rory had even read the paperwork in this situation. After all, you would think that would be part of their job, is to do actual research beyond Twitter narratives and headlines. So they can speak with a proper opinion on their hip-hop based platform. Like every time I talk about a court case in general, which is pretty often, I make sure to read all the court documents because sometimes the narrative online is not even close to what is actually going on. Now keep in mind that Rory was also of the opinion that this was a groundbreaking crusade for Drake and the music industry in general, and that Drake was doing all of this for Michael Jackson's legacy to fight the machine.
Michael Jackson tried to do this and they stopped him. Let's go for it, man. Like, what's so crazy with me with the internet for the last 7 years, y'all have been justifying snitching with real street, but when it comes to labels this week, snitching is against the rules now.
Oh,
Like, if you don't get the fuck out of here, bro, Drake obviously did this because his ego was more bruised than a 100-year-old banana. He literally was the machine for the greater part of the last 2 decades, and now he didn't really like it when the ladder got pulled out from under him. I mean, Rory even admits right off the bat that he did not know what this case was even about in the first place.
It's funny to see people's reaction, and again, people still not understanding what the case was about.
I, as someone that thought I understood it, now I actually don't. Because I know he was, from my understanding, initially suing for UMG promoting, pushing, and using bots about a song that was defaming him.
Mm-hmm.
Then the result was, all right, the case is dismissed because there's no defamation. I didn't even think he was suing for that.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm just lost. K-Dot, K-Bot, the whole world, y'all win. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot.
K-Dot, K-Bot.
I'm sorry. I was wrong. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Clearly the paperwork that I initially read is not even where the case ended up. Because I thought he was suing UMG for them promoting a song that defamed him.
So the guy clearly did not read the paperwork, and now that he has egg on his face, he acts like, oh, I didn't even care, and I never really did.
It's like the people that are like, this is why he should die.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite.
The ones that take it there. Like, somebody should die behind all of this, yeah.
Yeah, and his co-host should commit. And it's like, because he likes a rapper that you don't.
So you see, this is gaslighting at its finest, right? So Maul, I mean, Rory's not as bad as Maul, but Maul, let's start with him. He was acting like this was not just going to be a red button exposing the whole industry, but this was going to make Drake somehow $2 billion. Do you understand what that would mean? I mean, Rory didn't even know that this case was about defamation to begin with, right? But in a defamation case, you got to ask for damages, right? Like, if you're the one filing the lawsuit, you got to be like, hey, judge, they did something wrong to me, and if I could prove it, you got to grant me a reward, and they have to pay it. Maul thought that reward would be $2 billion. Do the math with me for a second. How much money do you think Drake as a business, his music, has generated for UMG throughout the entirety of his career? Even if you say something absurd like $5 billion, keep in mind, Spotify pays around, let's say, $5,000 for every 1 million streams. Drake has earned about 122 billion streams on Spotify. That would mean in total, just on Spotify, his music has generated about $610 million. But when you actually look at how many total units across the albums, singles, and features that Drake has amassed throughout his entire career, according to the RIAA, which is the official source for certifying songs and albums as platinum and gold, he's pushed 329 million total units. Now that's albums and singles. So let's say that's an average of about $5 per unit, right? Because an album maybe generates you about $10, but a single will generate you only $1. So let's meet in the middle. 329 million units times $5 equals about $1.645 billion. And that includes all his Spotify numbers already, right? And then let's say Drake makes UMG money through his touring, his merch, etc. Let's add another $1 billion on top of that. Let's be very generous here.
oh, it's just too good. Oh.
Now you're sitting at, on the very high side, around $2.5 billion. And again, I can't emphasize enough, I'm being so generous with these numbers. So with all that generosity, Drake has still generated UMG only $2.5 billion. What in the hell makes Maul think they would somehow owe Drake $2 billion because they hurt his feelings with a song? I mean, and this would be like the case where Drake would have to prove to the judge that the song completely destroyed his reputation. Like, he can't put out another album again. The whole world thinks he's a PDF. No one would buy a single song from him in the future going forward. So UMG would have to make up everything that he has already, produced for them, all the money he's made for them. Even in that wild case, and even in the wild case that Drake has somehow made UMG $2.5 billion, it would still make no sense that UMG would pay Drake out $2 billion. Do you understand the numbers behind this, how stupid claims like this are? And then it's also insane how Rory can not even read the lawsuit, not even know that it's about defamation to begin with, and make egregious claims like this is some Michael Jackson level industry exposing, shattering initiative that Drake is taking to completely reshape how the music business is ran. He didn't even realize that the judge didn't throw out this case because Drake couldn't prove that, UMG was using shady tactics like deploying bots or using payola. No, step one of even getting to that point is proving that by releasing the song Not Like Us, UMG destroyed Drake's reputation through defamation. Rory didn't even know that this was about defamation, that Drake sued because his feelings were hurt. But it gets even worse.
You know, at the end of the day, Not Like Us was a smash hit that had gasoline poured on it just like any other song that's going crazy. And of course, the promo cycle for a hit song is very different than a regular single. I mean, that is simply business 101. It would be like a restaurant not advertising the best item on their menu. Like, I can't tell you how many ads I've gotten for those Arby's steak nuggets.
Eat them in your mid-sized sedan. Eat them on your bed. Or eat them at the movies, you sneaky boy.
Or who remembers the Popeye's chicken sandwich craze? So for Rory to sit there and play dumb is just downright hilarious. But hey, at least the guy admits that he was clueless. Mal, on the other hand, is still double-handed glazing Drizzy's glizzy.
The people have to know that his lawyer, his team, they're going to appeal this and take this to another level. I don't know if people know that. Like, this is not over with. Like,
I mean, shit, the shitty, should we just let it go?
No, see, no.
Like,
no.
At this point.
No. Why? But would you? If you and your team, your lawyers had things in your possession that prove what you're saying is correct.
It depends the judge, and that's why the appeal process exists. Didn't they reveal everything? Because that was also something I saw on the OVO stand side of like, nah, he purposely was trying to lose the first one so he could reveal more in the appeal. And I was like, well, why wouldn't he just...
Yeah, no, I'm not... Just give... I'm not speaking to shit. I'm speaking to factual shit. Like, real things. Like, this is not over with.
Oh yeah, I'm sure his lawyers withheld key information that would get this case to court.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I really do hope that Mal understands that new information cannot be presented in the appeal process. But hey, that would actually take some level of research to be done on his points. It's also beyond clear to me that Rory is downright scared and kinda has to tiptoe around how he actually feels around OVO Mal, at least in regards to Drake.
But if he has all this info that we don't know about, why the fuck didn't he say it in the first case?
To me, I do not think that Rory is a stupid person, but it's kinda like when you're chilling with your friend who's way too far deep down a conspiracy theory rabbit hole, maybe a couple of beers deep into the night, and he starts spouting off about something that you know is complete horseshit. Like, sometimes you just have to let him rock to maintain the friendship, or in this case, to keep those podcast clips coming.
Yeah, so I don't believe that this is over. I don't believe that Drake and his team and his lawyers are letting this go. I do think that this is going to another level. Universal knows, or they know. You know, the internet can say, "Oh yeah, I told you he lost it." Ask Universal if they think this is over. Like, just ask somebody at Universal if they think that this case is over.
Well, I think Drake's lawyers have already talked about, like, obviously saying that we'll file an appeal. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So, you know, the blogs and, you know, content creators can react and make videos. Oh, all of y'all stupid, look stupid, da da da. It's like, okay, I mean, but this is not over. Like, yes, this judge dismissed it and, you know, dismissed the case in that court. But this is now going to another level. And that only speaks to, again, what I'm looking at. He obviously knows something. His team knows something. He has great lawyers. Yeah, it got dismissed in that court. But again, this is far from over. We haven't heard the last of this lawsuit with Drake versus UMG.
So what I will give Mal here is that he's right in that this is not over. Drake did file the appeal, meaning that the judge has to re-review this case. We're going to touch on that later in this video. But ultimately, to try to paint the narrative that Drake even knows what he's doing with this case and that he's got a trick up his sleeve and that UMG is, you know, turning over their shoulder to look at what his next move is going to be is downright flat delusional glazing, because Drake presented all the facts he had in court. Like I said before, no more evidence can come forward. Unless the judge has some sort of change of heart and accepts Drake's appeal and then it goes to trial, then the ball can get rolling. But if the judge already laid out the facts in terms of why this case is flat out BS and Drake can't present any new facts and he doesn't have any new facts, what is going to change here exactly? You'll see what I mean later in this video.
Spicy.
But yeah, it's sad because I don't think Rory, again, like Jamari said, is a dumb person, right? It's just that Mal has created an entire brand around glazing Drake. And I gotta ask you guys, like, the Joe Budden podcast, obviously it's huge. I have a huge video on Joe Budden coming soon, so stay tuned. But yeah, they're massive, right? They're generating $1 million a month just on Patreon alone. Ever since Rory and Mal split with them, do you guys think their influence would be as massive as it is if it wasn't for the meme of Mal glazing Drake? Like, would their podcast be relevant today if it wasn't just known for Mal, again, going through these crazy rabbit holes or doing anything he could to defend whatever Drake does? It seems like nowadays their name only comes up when Mal is having some crazy take about Drake. And Rory just lets it slide for I don't know what reason. I mean, Joe had some crazy takes back in the day, and it seemed like Rory would challenge him more than he does Mal. Do you guys think Drake pays them? Do you think it just aligns with their best interest to keep the content straight Drake glazing because that's what keeps their name relevant? That's what keeps them in the discussion? And I mean, ultimately, Mal emphasizes that Drake is not just keeping this ball rolling with this lawsuit to save face, right? Because obviously the fact that he lost is a horrible look for him when he made all these bold declarations and literally like this stuff was being discussed on the news. That's how big it got. He's not still fighting in court to save face. Mal thinks that this is only over when Drake says it's over, not when the federal judge says it's over. Lobby can keep pissing down money down the drain, spending it on lawyer fees so they can continue showing up in court and fighting a giant corporation like UMG, who likely has way more expensive, fancier lawyers. And not to mention the most important part is that he's going up a judge who already rejected this case once before.
Now keep in mind, there is no level to go upward from here. This was a federal judge who made this decision. And of course, lawyers are going to continue to take Aubrey's money from his tantrum that he continues to throw. And to suggest that he has better legal representation than a massive corporation is downright laughable.
So Mal, if he loses the appeal, then what's your stance if he loses the appeal?
My stance as far as what?
As far, because you're saying like this is not over, this is over. So this is not over. When do you think it'll be over? Like if he loses the appeal, is it over then?
I think it's over when Drake says it's over.
And I have to say, the moderator on the show, Damaris, is always the most researched, logical person on their podcast. There is a couple of instances here where she kind of tries to hold Mal's hand and guide him towards like logic and reasoning.
All I know is if you see somebody adamant as Drake is right now, there's a reason. If he's not bowing out, you can't be like, nah, bow out, you lost, back. There's a reason he's not.
And I've seen some of the rhetoric that he might not be backing down because it's an ego thing, right? Like I have to prove that something was done. If I don't prove that something was done and I just lost just because I lost, like I don't like that. Like something has to be done about this. Like that's why I'm standing out business. Like
so you're saying other people may think that he's not backing down because he doesn't want to bow out to save face, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't think this is that.
Yeah, so this guy is really just in deep denial. It's actually really sad. I almost feel like it's a mental illness at this point. He also suggests that UMG should have like soft-censored Not Like Us, all to appease Drake because he had been their cash cow for such a long time, as if that was not a symbiotic relationship.
Again, because I'm not sure everything, again, that Universal did, but I would definitely make sure that we're not funding this song, calling our top artist something that we believe he's not. I wouldn't jump behind it and promote that and put all the entire building behind that message. I would, if I'm the CEO of that label, I wouldn't do that. Just because it's a level of, I think, loyalty that we owe this artist.
So yeah, this guy is a sore loser in denial, just like his overlord.
And this is the dumbest claim. I've seen the Ovi hoes use this excuse like, oh, calling him a PDF was drawing the line. But there was no line drawn when UMG treated Drake the exact same way with his own diss records, right? Like, they're talking about, oh, Kendrick ruined rap because he made diss songs, hit songs, and now everything is about dissing. And what happened to rap battles that were just kept, on the battlefield, not kept on the DSPs, on the streaming platforms? But it's like, Drake did this approach already. And matter of fact, Drake concocted this formula. He made the hit song a diss song with back-to-back. The night that released and it became a huge hit, he rented out the hotel room above where Meek Mill and Nicki Minaj were staying in Toronto, and all him and his friends were blasting that song the entire night for Meek to hear. He mentions this on his song Summer 16. He says, like, we were up there turning up the whole time you were going to bed, or something like that. He was happy to use the machine, not just to push his Scorpion album when his face and his music was plastered over every Spotify playlist to the point where Spotify users requested refunds because they were getting Drake music on jazz playlists. No, more importantly, he utilized that same machine that he is now suing over to his advantage in multiple beefs in the past. He even got the story of Adin taken down.
But they love to sue.
or maybe it wasn't Drake, I shouldn't say that. Everything is all alleged here. But what we do know for a fact is UMG had taken down the story of Adin off of YouTube. We also know that when Pusha T was trying to drop his Clips album under UMG, under Def Jam, which is owned by UMG, there was that Kendrick feature that didn't even diss Drake. But UMG still wanted Pusha T to censor that verse because they were in discussion with Drake trying to reach a settlement before he actually took this lawsuit to court. This was like a month after the beef had ended, right? My point is, Drake has used this machine multiple times to his favor, most importantly with the beef itself. When he made those vile accusations against Kendrick Lamar on Family Matters, that song was also placed all over different playlists on Spotify, all over DSPs. Matter of fact, throughout the week of the beef, Spotify ran promotional campaigns where they had billboards in Times Square that said something like rap is competitive. Akademiks was on live streams with one of the higher ups at Spotify before Not Like Us blew up to massive proportions, and they were discussing how all the other diss records were performing on Spotify, on the streaming platform. Drake had no problem with that until it didn't benefit him any longer, and I think that's why he strategically put the Heart Part 6 only on YouTube, because A, he didn't want that to stain his legacy if it had a horrible public perception and it just lived on streaming platforms, but also he probably knew that Not Like Us was a hit, and any smart record label would put money behind a hit no matter what's being said in the song. And he probably knew he would file this lawsuit, so strategically, the song where he's, responding to the Not Like Us allegations, he avoids putting it on streaming platforms so he can now run off with the narrative. Look, guys, I think rap battles should exist outside the streaming platforms. We shouldn't capitalize off this, right?
I study rap battles for a living.
It's stupid logic. Why should UMG censor Not Like Us? That's what Maul was implying in that clip, that they should censor the song because it hurt Drake's feelings and his reputation. Do you understand the type of standard you're setting if you let your record label block songs, massive cultural hits nonetheless, because they hurt your feelings? It'd be one thing if Not Like Us was flat out saying, Drake, word for word, you are a PDF, and that song completely destroyed Drake's reputation, but he still has the machine behind him. UMG still pushed What Did I Miss? They still pushed Nokia. All these Drake songs, the whole Sexy Sleepy Song For You album that he dropped with PARTYNEXTDOOR, UMG was right behind that, promoting the hell out of it. He was all over all the streaming platforms. His reputation is not damaged. He's still able to put out music the way he wants. It's just that people look at him differently only because of the moves he made and because of how much better Kendrick performed throughout the battle that Drake willingly participated in, which is what the judge emphasized. But Maul is too delusional to see that, so he thinks UMG should now block Not Like Us off of streaming platforms. Then what about Family Matters? Should we just erase all diss tracks off of streaming platforms? What about Ether and Takeover? What about Hit 'Em Up? Nah, let's get that off streaming platforms. I'm sure Biggie would have been really mad at that song today in 2025 and would have filed lawsuits over it for sure. Let's just remove all these songs. But believe it or not, Lawbreeze and Gentlegrams, it actually got worse than Rawl and Maury. The other OV hoes were absolutely in outrage when the judge threw out this case.
The ones handling this loss even worse have to be his fans on Twitter, as they have spent the last couple of years promoting propaganda about this case, acting like Drake was due for a big win with this apparent red button, and now that the case got thrown out, they have spent the last week using AI to create their sick fantasies regarding Kendrick and Drake trying to save face.
You keep promising Dave's son you'll be there, and you never are.
I'm a bad father.
And I just want you guys to listen to the group chat conversations they've been having, because these guys are crashing out over the case being dismissed, and they are in turn now turning their backs on each other.
I don't give a fuck about a K-Bot. That's why I do what I do to you niggas every day. That's why we put belt to ass to you niggas. Cause guess what? Y'all around this bitch throwing rocks and hide y'all hands. Ain't no throwing and hiding nothing. We hawking y'all niggas down every chance y'all motherfucking get. Because guess what? You niggas not hip-hop, and y'all can't talk hip-hop without the Owls. Because guess what? Owls been running hip-hop for 16 motherfucking years. Nigga. Huh? Nigga, Argo been on top. Argo been running shit. Argo #1 album after #1 album after #1 album.
Oh, and that's why it's fucking problematic for you fence sitters, for you, I'm a Drake fan, but God forbid you come tell me some shit on the timeline and tell me chill out or calm the fuck down. You can go eat a whole dick. Don't ever call me out, because all that's going to do is get you blocked or get me to crash out on you. I don't give a fuck. I'll end us both.
Members, I had 2 arguments today. with two I'm a Drake fan but motherfuckers about yo AI shit. I say, and so the fuck what? We gonna keep sharing it. We gonna keep dissing the ops. We gonna keep doing it. And they like, oh, well, it's making Drake fans look bad. To who? K-Bots?
I don't give a fuck.
We don't give a fuck about you. I'm a Drake fan, but niggas, don't say shit to me about what I post, about what I repost. Guess what? Anytime members want to post a motherfucking AI of Kendrick motherfucking in a motherfucking bathing suit, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna like it and I'm gonna repost it.
It is very hard for me to wrap my brain around the idea of being this terminally online. Like, I might actually have to fund a psychological study into the minds of these sick people. I mean, just listen to this grown man, he actually has gray in his beard, talking about how he was out here putting in that virtual work for Drake.
Y'all was owls that I did not see on the timeline last year when this shit was livid. I don't give a fuck about y'all.
It is always them ones that wasn't, arm to arm with us fighting nothing. It's ones that was sitting in the group chat cowering in the corner that want to say, what
Like,
y'all doing? Why would you do
chat.
that? Like, nigga, you never did nothing. I did multiple shit that Drake have seen that he respects that I done fucking represented for the boy. Or not. Nigga, I done just did a lot of shit. We don't know you, nigga. So until you put some belt to ass, until you do something that
Put some
actually
work
is
in,
respected, then you can't tell me what the fuck I can do. You can't tell me what's good and bad because you never did nothing.
Like nothing.
I have burner accounts with more fucking followers than some of y'all. Don't ever come to me. And
Yeah, I done got
docs
docs behind this Drake shit. Nigga, we still don't know you. So you can't
Members,
tell me what the fuck I can do, gang.
They don't know what it's like to actually be out here. Like,
this was an everyday thing last year. We had to deal with the Grammys, the pop out, motherfucking nigga, the whole summer. Not like us going everywhere.
Can act like I'm in the fucking lawsuit for better or for worse. I don't give a fuck, y'all. Nobody on this motherfucker can ever tell me nothing.
Talking about some, it's making Drake look bad. Who gives a fuck? Shut the fuck up and get active. Get out these group chats. Get on this timeline.
So yeah, it's probably just the funniest shit I've ever heard. I mean, I know there's a lot of Drake fans out there who are normal-minded, who will continue to listen to his music and support him in a normal capacity, but I really don't think that these type of people understand how much damage they actually do to his brand. Like, I won't lie to you guys, if I spent 18 years raising a kid, and this was the outcome, well, y'all might as well just take me right off the earth that day.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. This is a cult, all right? Like, I'm responding to people on Twitter today, a year and a half after this battle and 2 weeks after the judge threw out Drake's year-long lawsuit about the case, they're still making up fan fiction about Kendrick Lamar and his fiancée Whitney. At 2 p.m. nonetheless on a Wednesday afternoon. They don't have anything better to do. And it's like, I wonder how many of them have actually even spoken to any members of Drake's team. Like, do they have financial incentive to be doing this, or are they really that deranged that they stay up day and night defending this man who doesn't know them, who doesn't care about them, and who probably doesn't even like them because they just make him look worse online? I mean, Akademiks is one of these people, right? Akademiks has been so desperate to defend any move Drake makes that he actually makes Drake look like a fool sometimes and actually gets Drake into trouble. Akademiks for the past few weeks has had private investigators outside his house, outside the house of his employees, who have been asking him about their connection to Drake and Steak. Drake was just roped into a lawsuit of his own with Steak and Adin Ross for using quote-unquote house money. And I had dug up an old clip where Akademiks flat out admits that Drake is getting paid to be on live streams promoting this stuff to the youth, all because he was trying to defend the fact that Drake went on a live stream with XQC, who's also paid by Steak, instead of Drake going on a live stream with Akademiks.
Those 3 Big Macs are for me. Them 2 big ass fries for me.
My point is, they're so desperate to defend Drake that they end up making him look worse. But you know who made him absolutely look the worst of all was none other than the legendary Judge Vargas, who Drake is trying to now go round 2 with. So let's understand what the judge had actually said and how she came to the decision that this lawsuit was complete BS and needed to be thrown out. So initially, Drake is suing over 3 main things, right? Defamation, harassment, and deceptive business practices. But all of these 3 things ride on proving the defamation claim first. If you can't prove you were defamed, the entire lawsuit crumbles. So UMG fired back, saying that Kendrick's lyrics obviously were protected artistic expression, part of a long tradition of rap battles filled with exaggeration, metaphor, and bravado. They asked the judge to dismiss the case entirely before it went to trial, and the judge agreed throughout the lawsuit and explained in detail why none of Drake's claims met the legal standard to move forward. The judge emphasized that Drake's entire lawsuit focused solely on Not Like Us. In the lawsuit, Drake claimed that UMG had the power to block or edit the song, but chose not to because controversy meant higher profits. UMG countered that by saying Drake provided no concrete evidence of any secret marketing schemes, any fake streaming manipulation, emphasizing that all of Drake's arguments relied on speculation, no verifiable proof, and that Kendrick's lyrics again were artistic opinions. Now ultimately, a valid lawsuit has to present real factual details, no assumptions, no vague accusations like Drake had in his lawsuit, and in this case the standards were clear. For defamation, there must be a false statement presented as fact that damages reputation. For harassment, which is another claim in Drake's lawsuit, there has to be recognized civil law allowing such a claim, and New York didn't have one. And for the deceptive business practices claim, of course, again, the bots, the payola that UMG did, according to Drake, there had to be proof that the public was misled, either about the success of the song or in terms of how often they saw the song all over their platforms, whatever the case is, not just that Drake was personally harmed. And the judge was emphasizing that this early on, it wasn't a trial. She wasn't deciding who was right, who was wrong. She was only deciding whether Drake's claims actually described any legal violation. The judge
studies rap battles for a living.
The judge ultimately agreed that because Not Like Us was part of a public rap battle, the audience understood it as entertainment, not a factual report. Even if UMG knew the lyrics were harsh, that didn't make them legally defamatory. Opinions and creative expressions are protected by what? By the First Amendment. And the judge added that promoting or distributing a song that contains protected artistic speech can't be considered defamation either. Because of that, the defamation claim was dismissed for good. Then there was the harassment claim. Drake said UMG's behavior amounted to harassment, that by releasing and promoting Not Like Us, they intentionally caused him humiliation and emotional harm. But the judge pointed out that New York doesn't allow private citizens to sue for harassment. Those laws only exist in criminal court, where the state prosecutes, not individuals. And even if civil harassment claims were possible, UMG's conduct still wouldn't qualify. Harassment involves repeated, targeted behavior, like stalking, threats, direct communication, not the distribution of a song. UMG didn't contact or threaten Drake. It simply released music made by one of their artists. So that claim too was dismissed entirely. Now here's the one you guys are most interested in, the third and final claim in Drake's lawsuit, and that involves deceptive business practices. Drake accused UMG of breaking consumer protection laws by using bots, paying influencers, and manipulating charts to make Not Like Us appear more popular than it really was. Now, the judge explained that the law Drake cited, New York General Business Law 349, protects consumers, not artists or private business partners. So to win that claim, Drake needed to show that the public was deceived in a meaningful way and suffered harm as a result. And he didn't do that. His complaint was built on speculation. It didn't name influencers, it didn't provide evidence of fake streams, it didn't show proof of any misleading campaign. Even if UMG had promoted the song heavily, that's normal marketing, not fraud. The judge also said the lawsuit wasn't about consumers being tricked, it was about Drake's personal reputation, so the statute didn't apply. So that claim too was dismissed in full. And so because none of these claims met legal standards, UMG's motion to dismiss was granted in full. And the case was dismissed with prejudice, meaning that Drake can't file the same claims again in this specific court. In her conclusion, Judge Vargas acknowledged the cultural weight of the rap battle, but she said that the law must draw a line between art that offends and art that's illegal. Under American law, creative expression, even when it's damaging or controversial, remains protected. And I think the two biggest things of this entire, lawsuit getting dismissed, the two best things going forward is the fact that A, freedom of speech is protected because the court said Not Like Us was artistic expression, not defamation. So there's no new precedent going forward about how rap beefs can be treated in court if it escalates to this point ever again in the future. And the claims about deceptive marketing had no solid evidence, aka all those OV hoes yelling and screaming about Kendrick or Doechii or TDE using bots. When Drake actually pulled up to court to really get to the facts and push the red button, the judge made it clear there was no evidence that actually proved that. So what happens now? Well, Drake spends more money on more lawyers to file a notice of appeal, which he just did. And so here's what happens next. He's basically telling a higher court, called the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, that he disagrees with Judge Vargas's decision to dismiss his case. And over the next few months, Drake's lawyers will write a long legal argument explaining why they think the judge got it wrong. For example, that she misread the law on defamation or free speech, and UMG's lawyers will write their own response explaining why the judge was right to throw it out. And now a group of 3 new judges, not Judge Vargas, will review everything. They might schedule a short hearing where both sides argue their points, and those judges will then decide one of 3 things. Number 1, they'll either agree with Judge Vargas and keep the case closed. Number 2, they could disagree and send it back for further steps, possibly reopening the case or letting certain claims move forward to trial. Or number 3, they could partially agree, meaning that some of Drake's claims will stay dismissed while others will get revived. Because remember, there's 3 claims. There's the defamation claim. He claims his feelings were hurt over Kendrick's lyrics in Not Like Us. Number 2 is the harassment claim. He claims that by UMG actually releasing and promoting the song, it caused him actual harassment. And number 3 is the deceptive business practices claim, where Drake is basically accusing UMG of using bots, fake streams, payola, paying influencers to promote the song and make it look like a much bigger success than it actually was to convince the public. Now, if the case is sent back, it would end up going back to Judge Vargas, the one who initially threw out the case. But she would have to follow the appeals court instructions. She can't reopen the case on her own, only if the higher court orders her to. So as of right now, Drake's lawyers pulled the trigger on round 2, baby. So I guess we'll still be here, still talking about this BS, still biting our teeth to see if free speech will be compromised or if the bots will be exposed. As always, let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.